All right, I'm up here off of Canyon Side Road looking at retaining walls for Shannon. I have measurements, elevations, and linear feet. Got the laser there and 100-foot tape. And pulled some measurements. So basically we're looking at 3 tiers of retaining walls. 1, 2, 3. Kind of going up. We got one on the bottom, one halfway, and one at the top. We got 75 feet, and this is Ruby. Just saying hi. Hi, Ruby. Okay, give me a second. So we have 75 feet in an arc along the bottom, and 55 feet in an arc along the top, and 25 feet of depth kind of going up the hillside and going up. So then in terms of the elevation change, we have an average across the top. I took the average, and then I took kind of the lowest point across the bottom so that we'll make all these level, so they'll all be level with each other. And we have 8 feet of elevation change. We'll want to add a little bit because we want to bury the base course on all of them. And then we want to come up a foot as well. So we're going to have an elevated foot of sidewall, and we'll have an open walkway here in the middle. So they want to then come up a foot above the native elevation here and add a foot of topsoil and imported planters mix for the top. So we'll want to add some boulders there. We'll want to plan for a bed of gravel in the bottom below the base course. Let's go with 6 inches, 4 to 6 inches on the base course of gravel. No drain pipe or weed fabric behind the wall. We're just going to put gravel back there. They're not going to be overly tall walls, 2.5 to 3 feet tall each. I mentioned 2-foot average boulders, weathered boulders with rounded edges, which I think would be the most cost effective because we do have a supply of those, and that will also match these weathered boulders that are exposed on the hillside here. She said she wanted to keep those there. We have a small supply of boulders underneath those solar panels, but we'll leave those there. We do have a small handful of boulders that we can pick and put into the wall here. But for the most part, we don't have the boulders required. This will be a lot of boulders brought in. We likely have enough on hand at the shop. We can consider that and calculate the volume of boulders that we'll be using here. So that's it, really. We'll run some calculations, estimate our materials, and then come up with our estimated work load to get this done. She's gonna put all these gardening supplies back and aside, and then we'll be leaving all this intact on the uphill. We'll be taking all of our excess soil and putting it down there along the fence line. We should put at least some silt fencing along the base of the fence there to keep material from spilling out through the fence and down the hill. That'll just also be good for erosion control. That's about it. We're gonna open up the fence and come in right through there with our material import. So we'll be building a temporary access road that comes right through here, kind of in between these two rock outcroppings, and then we'll cut and pull back the fence, swing it back right here. We may want to remove this pole right here and then put it back when we're done, and then we'll put this back when we're done. She did ask that we pull all of the irrigation hoses back and set them aside over here, and then we'll drape them all back out when we're done as well. So that'll be additional work that we'll factor in. And then we'll be on out. We'll restore the hillside here, put the fence back, and we're out of there. We're done. We may want to do some re-vegging here, some straw and seed, or just let that be up to her since she's a gardener. And that's the full rundown.